Zoom. If you ever want to get in the Zoom room to be live with us, of course, just send an email to care@saraconnell.com and we'll make sure that you get the link to come into the Zoom room with us on Mondays. But we're going to have a lot of fun today in the Thought Leader Lounge. This is where we get to set up our week for massive success. This is where we get to get our head, no matter what the morning felt like, the weekend felt like, no matter what you think you have going on. If you're feeling high vibe, we're just going to take that up a few levels. If you're feeling like crunchy, stretchy, uncomfortable in any way, we're going to get inspired and leave in a better place. There's such a powerful moment at the start of a week to be able to say, I am going to use my agency, right? My personal power to intend and set up really incredible joy and fun and abundance and contribution and success. And so I want to hear in the chat and in the comments on social, if you're ready to make this an epic week, put epic in the comments or chat. If you're committed to make this an epic week. I know I am all in because we are finalizing, yes, Kelly Wagner's in, we're finalizing our content for our Women Starting Movements event that's coming up. We have books launching. You're going to hear from the amazing Jen Henry today, who just became a best-selling author. She's already a phenomenal thought leader and now has added best-selling author to her repertoire and her leadership. So we're going to talk to Jen, which is super exciting. And we're going to talk about something that really popped for me 2 weeks ago about is being a good girl, meaning trying to be nice, making sure no one's ever upset, people pleasing, getting in the way of your income, of your leadership, of your peace of mind. Okay. So we're going to talk about we're going to have Jen on first to inspire us. And then we're going to talk about the good girl syndrome or good boy syndrome or good they syndrome. However you identify, it's a dynamic and a paradigm that sometimes can keep us small and frustrated. And you're big. It was big in your generation, Karen. Yeah. Well, I somehow drank that Kool-Aid along the way somewhere. So I'm right there with you. All right. So this is really exciting. And in terms of announcements, what we have coming up, the best-selling book intensive is happening this week, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. If you're new to our community and you have not taken that training before, then I have some gift tickets. And so you'll want to let us know in the chat or comments, BBI, if you want to be able to come to BBI. If you've not done trainings with me before and you want to do the best-selling book intensive, where we will do 3 to 6 months of work in 3 days on moving your book forward, actually getting clarity, mapping it, writing out the first installment of your book and having a publishing plan. So it's a really, really exciting, thrilling training that's coming up. And we also will be notifying everyone on the wait list for Women Starting Movements if we can get you in. We are at capacity, but we're confirming with everyone. And as plans change, we let people in off the wait list. So please put retreat in the chat or comments if you want to be on the wait list and be notified if a spot opens up in Chicago for Women Starting Movements. All right. So those are our announcements. It is so, I don't know, I'm going to try not to cry, but I'm really excited to have Jen here today because those of you that have done a book already, it is not a, very, we try to make it as fast as we can, but it's not just a thing that's sort of like, I'm writing a book and then tomorrow you're done and launched and it's all there, right? This is a big, Karen's laughing because you've been through it, right? It's a big deal. It's a big deal to say yes to yourself, to stick with it, to get the writing done. Then it's a big deal to go into the publishing process. And it's a big deal to bring your work out into the world. And now Jen's entering the next phase, which is like, I'm published, now what? All right. So Jen, come on down. We're going to bring you up on the Thought Leader Lounge. And I want to create a set, you guys. I'm going to create a Thought Leader Lounge set so it'll feel like we're, having coffee together. So Jen, welcome to the show.
Cheers to that. Thank you so much for having me, Sarah. It's an honor to be here.
I'm so happy you're here. And can we first just do a massive celebration? And can you hold up this brilliant, amazing new best-selling book so everyone can see just how awesome Resilience, a New Kind of Strong by Jen Henry. Oh my gosh, I ordered some copies this weekend to share with people in my life, and Jen will be in Chicago with us. So those of you coming, you're going to need to actually meet Jen in person. And I'm sure, Jen, I'm gonna told you, no, I'm going to invite you if you'll be willing to sign some people's books live that are there in Chicago. Yeah. So let's talk about this. It's a big deal. You hit the bestseller list. This was not a cakewalk. It wasn't no big deal. What was the, let's do most challenging part of bringing this book to life and the best part so far?
Absolutely. The most challenging part of bringing this book to fruition was the waiting game during publishing. All of the editing, all of the back and forth, getting the cover the way that we all wanted it, where we all agreed, getting the formatting the way we want it, the multiple edits and back and forth. It's challenging to not only to do the editing, but to reread all of these vulnerable things that I had to write in the first place over and over and over and over and relive it. And while it was difficult, it was also so incredibly challenging in a positive way. Like, it gave me the opportunity to heal through some more things that I didn't think I still needed healing in. And it really brought it to the surface, and I was able to really face that. And that would be one of my favorite parts about this, is not only my ability to connect to those parts and start to process them even more than I already have, but the way that, even though, and the feedback people have been giving me around, I may not have been through what you've been through, which for those of you that don't know me is homelessness, IV drug addiction. I'm an ex-convict. I was in prison twice, arrested multiple times. And even though people haven't gone through that, thankfully, the way that I wrote it, people are able to identify, and they are telling me like, wow, I totally get it. I identify, I'm there with you. And thank you so much for writing this. And the feedback has just been really, I'm just so grateful.
I feel like that's at the core for, I'll put me in the chat in the comments. If one of the things you look so forward to for your first book or your next book is getting those emails, getting those DMs, getting those things from readers who say, this is what I needed. Thank you. This touched me. I know so many of our clients say that that's like their main, thing they are looking for. So you can really feel Jen here. And, Jen, I really like that you speak about our experiences are different, right? We have diverse experiences of challenge, adversity, trauma, but the patterns are the same. What we made up about it, how we felt stuck, where we compromised, where we shut down, right? And so I remember reading Eat, Pray, Love, and like many of us just loving it and identifying, I haven't been divorced. That's not a path that I've walked, but that didn't matter. Her pain over feeling like her life wasn't working, I had that in a job, right? It doesn't matter the details, right? It's the universe. You're the individual within the universal that's showing us, Jen, how to overcome, how to triumph, how to relaunch. And I'm so excited for you. And, that back and forth and waiting game in the publishing, I'm in it now because my new book is coming out shortly this fall. And it's like every time through it gets easier and easier, but like, there's still the like, oh my God, I got to read this again. Like you said, it's like, it's vulnerable. Am I really like, it's the next step forward. It's exciting. So Jen, you and I have talked about the what's next, because I feel like this comes up so much. Like you get through the launch and it's all about the launch, and it's like, I'm a bestseller, and that is the best. And I want everyone to wildly celebrate for months and years, all of that. And we have, as high achievers, thought leaders, peak performers, we're like, okay, now what? Right. And so, Jen, we've been coaching about this a little bit in Thought Leader Academy and Oracle. Like, do you want to share with people the vision? Like, what's the real impact that you're ready to make now that this book is out?
So my movement, and I speak to it in the book, my movement is lifestyle recovery. Because of my background in recovery, I just felt that the processes that I'd gone through, the programs I'd gone through, the step work I had done, it touched the surface and it got deep in some areas, but there was still so many missing pieces. And for me, it wasn't about the drugs. It wasn't about the alcohol, just like it's not about the Netflix. It's not about the social media. It's not about the food. It's about disconnection. And so my movement as lifestyle recovery is to introduce that to the world, that it's not about just getting off whatever. It's not about just stopping scrolling or stopping the drugs or stopping drinking. It's about learning how to connect and be okay in your own skin and be okay in your own current experience and be able to identify that, so that then you can shift it. Because I was incapable of being okay in my own skin. I was incapable of holding space for myself, or of even identifying who I was, what I wanted, what I liked in this world. And right now we're all so chronically disconnected. I truly believe that as a society, we are chronically disconnected, not just from others, which is obvious, but from ourselves. And so that makes it us incapable of connecting to others, of connecting to what we want, of what we need in the moment. And so once we can finally identify those things, we can start to make those shifts. And so that's that's my hope for this book, is that I can get it.
I'm like bursting because I love this movement so much, Jen, right? And people are sharing that in the chat. And those of you on social, please comment about, let's all just ask this, because Jen's our thought leader in this. Let's close our eyes for a minute and just say, if you're really honest with yourself, are there times when you find it really hard to just be with yourself first and foremost? Yes, there's intimacy with others, but like, if you put the phone down and the computer away, the TV off and the podcast stuff, and is that true for any of you? I know it is for me. There's times when I find myself, it used to be food. That was my drug of choice, right? Jen, we have different drugs of choice, but it used to just be, oh, I'm going to stuff this with something, right? And then it was just, busyness. And it would just be anything. It would be anything to not feel feelings, to be uncomfortable, to have to like deal with my TV, Karen. I remember someone gave me the assignment once to do a complete fast where you couldn't read, watch, or listen to anything for a week. I thought I was going to die. I mean, I've been through, like, you all that know my story, I've been through like really hard stuff, like where, life-threatening stuff, like Jen, different than Jen, but life-threatening stuff.
Same,
and
really.
I thought I was going to lose I was like, what am I even doing? I mean, I would be on a bus, and I was living in London at the time, and I was like, I can't listen. I mean, I was always putting something, right? So Jen, that you are here leading a movement of connection, reconnecting us to self, because if I'm connected to self, then I can connect to Jen and I can be there for her. I can connect to you guys. I can connect to my husband. I can connect to my child, my pet. So this is one of the most important things, and we've robbed ourselves, right? So Jen, I love that you're leading this movement. And now it's about Jen going on podcasts. It's about Jen getting out speaking on more stages, Jen getting the book in the hands of everyone who needs it. And we'll certainly send this out with our, replay, the link to Jen's book, so you can all get it. But, and Jen, if you want to put it as we continue on in the lounge, pop it in the chat, and the team can share it on socials too. So people that I'm sure right now listening, those of you that want to just get this book immediately, I can't recommend it enough. And I'm so, Jen, what would yourself 10 years ago say right now?
Oh gosh. Okay. So 10 years ago, I was 3 years into my recovery, and I was just starting to really take off in competing on stages, fitness competitions. And I was heavy in the gym with my personal training. I was running groups, and I would want to tell that version of me, like, just wait, but wait, there's more, right? Like the infomercial, but wait, there's more. And it's okay. Like, it's okay. And the 10-year ago version of myself would definitely be like, no effing way. No way. No way. You're a liar and a fat mouth. No way. I don't buy it. You're bullshitting me. And I'd probably have to bring proof, because there's no way 10 years ago that I honestly thought that I would be in a position to not only have a message to share, but have a platform to share it on, to be surrounded by the kind of support and love and encouragement, and these women that I've surrounded myself with, that I've invested in, and having invested, I definitely don't think I would have believed how much money I'd invested in myself 10 years later.
Me either.
Like, trust the process. Like, that's all I had to keep telling myself. Like, it's uncomfortable. You can you're getting comfortable with discomfort, and you just need to trust the process. And as long as you keep taking the next indicated step, you're going to be okay.
Yes, Jen. Oh my gosh. Doesn't that feel good? Like everyone sort of feel that similar message to your former self. We talk about the future self, but I think going back to our beloved, beloved self, like you said, she'd go, you're a lie. I mean, I remember, I was doing this once, and my son would just been like, what, like you said, they would like, show me. Let's hands on. Like, let me see some proof here. Let me see that book. Right. So, Jen, is there anything you want to share with somebody who, obviously they get to read your book to learn how to reconnect to self? Again, some of you, it's like, I'm not like, in my world, I'm very connected in many ways, yet there are still times I don't want to be with myself. I don't want to feel something. I don't want to like slow down. I don't want to experience the full spectrum, right, of emotions. So Jen, anything else you want to leave people with here?
Gosh, I will say, like, I feel like the most difficult time to connect is when we are having a difficult time. Right.
Yeah.
And I think that that's like a catch-22 that we have is, when I'm in it, if sometimes I'm so deep in it that I can't recognize that I'm in it or that there's a way out. And so just having non-negotiables in place, things
Mhm.
where I can make sure that I'm at least doing the basics for myself every single day so that so I don't get so disconnected that I can't come back to my
Yes.
current reality.
That's so
Right. So
brilliant.
whether it's purposeful movement, meditation or breathing, plugged in throughout the day as
Yeah.
reminders on your phone or whatever it is. Sometimes I'll be in it and I won't realize I'm in it. And then I get a reminder to take a deep breath and I'm like, I see you. I see you. Like, okay, like this, you were prepared for this. And so it's really about figuring out what you need. And then when it comes up and it's not there, making sure that it's there for the future.
Yeah, I think this is so great. It's like creating new rituals and habits where it's like right now, like I have 3 different mindfulness points in my day. It's just built in. It's not like something I do if I feel like it. And to your point, Jen, then I'm aware if that afternoon one comes and I'm breathing really shallowly and I realize like I've been racing in some warriors, it's like, oh, there's a replugging in. And I get to say, how can I take care of myself the rest of today, knowing that I'm a little worked up or like that I'm just really happy and I get to celebrate something or whatever. So I really love, and Karen, people are putting in the chat, yeah, it's right when it's so hard. I remember after our twins died, I met with someone, I was doing some trauma work, and she suggested maybe going for a massage, which I normally in normal life love to do. And I keep not doing it. And she said, yeah, why? And I knew there was a reason. And I said, because I'll feel like if someone puts their hands on me, I will start to feel more deeply. And so then I committed to doing it, right? Just like, yeah, if I go there and freaking sob the whole time and someone has a hand on my one shoulder, I'm like, like that'd be good. It'd be a release. That's probably emotion that gets to come out, right? And so I love this idea of use Jen's book, everybody, and I know on the website, Jen, you'll have, other ways people can get support from you so that people like, I think doing this by ourselves, it took that loving person in my life to say, why aren't you going, to give yourself this healing thing? And it's like, oh, cause that was the resistance. So I'm so grateful that you said yes, Jen, to lead the movement and dug deep. I watched it. I got the privilege because I get to coach with you of seeing you. Every time it got hard, just say, I'm staying in this. I'm staying in it. It's a big deal.
Well, Sara, thank you for holding this space and creating this container for us to really feel safe enough, because I have talked to multiple people who have written books and not published, or published and nothing happened with them, or they didn't know what to do with it, or they've got a book sitting there waiting to be finished, whatever it is. And if it hadn't been for the accountability of I worked with Audrey, if it hadn't been for Audrey, if it hadn't been for our sessions together, if it hadn't been for the women that are also doing the thing in the space with all of us, right? I don't know that it would have ever happened. And so if it wasn't, and I don't say this lightly, if it wasn't for you and what you've created, I wouldn't be able to be here and create what I've created. So thank you for leading us and being an example of what it can look like to create a movement.
Oh, well, it is the biggest gift of my life to get to do this with you and our incredible community here. And thank you. So, Jen, if you want to hang out for the good girl people pleasing, I know this is actually part of what you help people recover from in their lifestyle recovery. Please feel free. And if you're off too, if you've got a podcast interview or something else going on, then we are sending you love. So everybody, you'll get to see Jen in person, get your book signed at Women Starting Movements. If you aren't joining us at the in-person retreat, then be sure to grab Jen's book. And I'm sure she would love to hear from you at her website that she shared. So thank you, Jen. Oh my God. It's so exciting, guys. Right. So what did you take away from that? I'd love to hear in the comments and chat. Like, was it about sticking with it? Were you like what Jen was describing, someone who has your book and you're not out with it, you're not doing something with it in the way that you want because of whatever fear, not knowing what to do? Yes. And there's Jen's book portal. I just think I just got stuck in that kind of invisible author thought leader for so long. Like I would create a whole book or program and then not want to tell anyone about it. It was so scary to promote anything or be visible. So yeah, I love Karen, you're saying Jen's story was so different, but relatable on so many levels. Absolutely. So you guys, we're just going to do a bit on this because it's going to become probably something that we do a few We do a few rounds. We probably do a few episodes, but I'm going to just share something from 2 weeks ago that I noticed in myself. There's someone I adore who I kind of put a little bit as a above, like she's been a mentor of mine, someone I really love working with and value her opinion, all those things. And she came to me with an opportunity, and it sounded like it was a good fit. And I said yes. And then when I kind of got more information, it was less of a good fit. And instead of being direct and just getting in touch and saying, hey, you know what, now that I know a little bit more about this, I don't think it's aligned. How else could I support you? Right? Like, or what other way could, we do something together than this particular thing? It took me weeks of stewing and feeling out of alignment and all these different things, before I was able to just share that. So I have shared it now, but like, I did it because when I really look back, I was like, what was my actual intention in saying yes? And my actual intention in saying yes, I realized when I got really honest and looked at it deeply, was I wanted to be a good person in her life. Right? I wanted to, it wasn't that it felt like, again, at first it did, and the reason I share is nothing to do with her. Nothing to do with this other person. This is all to do with a pattern that I thought I'd graduated. Anyone else? You have a pattern and then you realize, oh, I thought I was done with that pattern and here it is, right? And what I also thought was so fascinating was that it ended up causing stress in our relationship instead of positivity. Big shock, right? When I do something with the intention of people pleasing or being good or being liked or having someone think I'm a good person, it actually has the opposite effect that I want. Instead of being clean, which again, I now have, communicated this and being able to be really like, and that all that time I spent kind of like in the struggle around, in my head and how do I communicate this? And is so-and-so mad at me? And, just all the mental, psychological junk that I took on around this. And then it ended up understandably on her end causing like friction. Right. And so I'm sharing this because there's a price we pay and it doesn't work. So there's two negatives when we play the good girl or people please or whatever it is out of alignment with what is really true for us. There's two very clear costs. One cost is it causes a lot of stress and tension and like mental load, and we're in our head and we're out of alignment and just whatever. And the second thing is it doesn't freaking help the relationship. It does the opposite. If my whole goal was like to be good in that relationship, I did the opposite. I haven't had this experience. I used to live this way all the time and I haven't had it in so long. And it really took me by surprise. I was like, oh my God, look at that. So I want everyone to just do a loving check-in with yourself. Is there anything in your life that you've said yes to recently that's really not a pure yes? Like you're doing it out of obligation or to be liked or to make sure someone thinks you're good. No judgment. Just like check in. Or even more exciting, are you considering, maybe I can be your cautionary tale today, and are you considering saying yes to something that just isn't quite right? And I want to empower all of us to instead of saying yes or continuing, if you've said yes already, what would it look like? What if you could just say to someone, hey, that's not exactly a fit for me. Let's explore something else. Or I'd love to talk at another time about a different kind of opportunity. This one's not a fit for me. Or actually, in second thought, if you've already said yes, the more I think about this, I think it's not the quite right fit for me. What else, might be useful here, right? And then we're going to actually have more of what we want in that relationship, because as Jen's teaching us, it's real intimacy. It's actual authentic connection. And that's what we all want from each other. Right. And so I'm just curious if that's up for anybody. Put me in the chat if there's some way you can relate to this, like either something you're currently in, you've done it in the past, or you're considering it. Yeah. A lot of us. Yep. And so what is going to be your new strategy? So we're going to do a brain prime to finish out the lounge today, which is there's really in habit change, there's a fun practice in neuroscience and habit change where you say, what will I do moving forward in a similar situation? And you mentally rehearse how you would do it differently. So in my case, someone who I really adore and love and want to help out in any way that I can invites me to something to do with them. And I don't feel like it's quite the right thing. And so in the future, what I'm going to do is first I can give myself some grace and say, hey, let me get back to you tomorrow. Let me kind of look at what's coming up and look at everything and feel good. I'll let you know tomorrow, because that would give me some time to process, first of all. And then secondly, if it's a no, I would say, I'm so honored that you thought of me for this. And I totally get why this is an amazing opportunity. And the truth is right now, it's not the right fit for me. So here's what I want to know. What is the end goal that you're looking for? And I want to explore any other ways that might be a fit for me to support you. And then the person might be mad, not mad. They might say, oh, I wanted you to, they could have whatever feelings they have, but I'm clean, right? I'm in integrity with my communication. And then the relationship will ultimately be the highest it can be. Whatever is meant to happen will happen. So what's your mental rehearsal? Let's just feel into that and take a moment and say, like, what are you going to do either today, if you're already in something that you want to renegotiate and get out of, or if you feel that pull to people please and be good, instead of being honest, instead of being aligned, instead of being in integrity with your true self, what are you going to do next time? And just think of one thing and maybe share it in the comments or chat. I'll close my eyes and kind of just hold space here for a minute. This is the practice that's going to set you free. And I love that. You're going to honor what you need and be honest with everyone without feeling guilty. That's so good, right? No guilt, no apologies. When I first got, I haven't had one of these hits in a while, but there was obviously a good reason, another level I got to clear. When I used to do this a lot, my big breakthrough was so hard at first was not to give a justification. Not to say, oh, I'm not available because I have a wedding, or I'm not available. I just say, you know what? It's not a fit. Quiet, shut mouth. I would have to sit on my hands and bite the insides of my cheeks because I'd always want to justify a reason. And Kelly, you're going to say no or offer alternatives with matter-of-fact kindness. Yep. And graciousness. Scripting some template responses you can refer back to. That's amazing, Kelly, because then you're not thinking on the fly. We can practice this. Jade, planning a timed orchestrated exit after following up with what you said you would do. Finishing and submitting is not a fit. Beautiful. Beautiful, Jade. Great job. You guys are awesome. Does it put L in the chat if you feel like this could be a next level of liberation? To really know ahead of time, I'm allowed to either change my mind. I'm allowed to say, no, thank you. This isn't the right fit without guilt or justification. Yeah, it's so empowering. And finally, when you let go of people pleasing and doing things that aren't the right next thing for you, what is it going to give you? What do you think is going to open up in your life? Feel into that one. I love that. Ashley's going to be honest, not make excuses, have grace for yourself and others. Yes. Yes. You get to and you deserve to, Ashley. It's going to open up for Kelly spaciousness, authenticity, freedom to live a life that's joyful and aligned. Yeah. And Kelly, I guarantee, once I got clean in that interaction with this person that I adore, our relationship feels awesome now, because now it's all hey, look, and I owned it. I was like, you know what? I wanted to please. I wanted to be good. That's on me. And I said, I hope you can hear this as I'm owning this 100%. She's like, yeah, I don't hear you blaming me at all. And I was like, nope, that was all me. So I love that. You know, for me, it's opening up my mental capacity, my focusing on the things that are mine to do, right? My next book, content creation, being of service, and it would give me more peace because I really got out of serenity with that. Yeah, this is so good. I love this conversation, and we'll probably approach it from different angles and have some other experts like Jen weigh in the future. Jade, you're following the path for you, not draining your energy. Yeah, it's so freeing. And it was so good to feel it again after not having this for a long time in a way, because it really made me double down on my commitment, you know, like non-negotiable. Yeah. So that's our lounge for today. You guys, listen, the other thing that I forgot to say at the very opening is tomorrow night is our Women Starting Movements pre-event happy hour. We're going to be on Zoom together. So all of you who are coming to Chicago, we have a Zoom cocktail party, and you can bring mocktails, cocktails, whatever suits you. And we'll be talking a little bit about a sneak preview of what we're going to do in October. We're going to get the actual transformation process started tomorrow. And Alexis just put the link there in the chat. Again, if you want to get in off the wait list, message our team right now. Here in the chat or at care@saraconnell.com, and just say retreat waitlist, because we're confirming. Our team is making calls today with everybody, making sure they're still coming, and then we will let people in as we have tickets. So yeah, and Jade, we are recording tomorrow night for the party. So yes, you can join us virtually and have some wonderful time with us then. Can't wait. Look at that beautiful background you have, Jade. It's so good. So I'm really excited to see you. Yeah, exactly. So you can watch the recording if you want to, and you can't come live. And we will be back next week on the Thought Leader Lounge at noon Eastern. We'll see you all then. Have an amazing week. Let's be liberated, right? We're only saying yes to the things that really matter. All right. Love you guys. See you next time.